Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. So, my stepdad is an absolute piece of work who I never let into my life. My mom introduced me to him when I was 20, and now, 8 years later, I'm still not happy about my mom having that guy in her life. He basically mooches off of her when he has a business that gave him a fat ass bank account. I knew from the first time I met him that he's a cheapskate because he made my mom pay for the dinner and didn't even offer to cover the bill once. The few more times I met him were also bad experiences that I'd like to forget. One time, I actually caught him checking out a waitress when he thought neither me or my mom was looking, and I promised myself two things at that moment. First, I would never get myself in a situation where I have to be alone in the same room with this man. Second, I needed to make my mom take off her rose-tinted glasses and see the guy for who he was. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful in keeping the second promise. I told my mom time and again that he's not going to treat her right and that she's not the only woman for him. I pleaded with her to realize she deserves better, but she never listened to me. She always said that she's in her 50s and this is it for her. She always said, if not him, then no one else. Eventually, I gave up on trying to convince her and just made sure to keep an eye out for her. They are now married and live together. I still don't trust him, and I have my suspicions that he was cheating on my mom. I tried to gather proof a few times, but he always managed to hide it. I gotta give it to him, though, that he's a good player. He knows what he's doing and makes sure to keep his skeletons well hidden. But that was until yesterday. Yesterday, I received a call from him. He calls me once every few months, and the only reason I pick up his calls is that my mom lives with him. Although everyone knows that I hate the guy and I never try to hold myself back in expressing my opinion. So I picked up the call and asked him what he wanted from me. He said not to be so rude as we're family, and I used a few eloquent and carefully picked cursed words to explain to him how unwelcomed his calls were. The hub had no grain of shame in his body and just laughed it off. He said he knows how much I love knowing about his private life since I keep following him around and went so far as to hire a PI once to keep tabs on him. So he was calling to update me about his very well thought life choice he made. He said that I was correct in thinking he was cheating on my mom and that now he's even going to be open about it. He said he's planning to move in with his new mistress, and he knows my mom wouldn't divorce him because she's complacent. As soon as I pressed the call recording button to make sure I got his words to show my mom, he stopped talking. He said that was it, and there wasn't anything else he wanted to talk about, and then he hung up. I mentally kicked myself for not keeping the auto recorder on, but enough was enough, and I needed to take serious action first. The guy was a douchebag and needed to go. So I called my husband, who, as a contractual worker, was in a better place to leave work early. I told him to go to my mom's house and get all the locks changed so that my stepdad wouldn't be able to enter that house. My husband did ask for details, but I told him I'll tell him when I'll reach home, and I'd appreciate it if he could help me at that moment. My husband understood my mood and went straight to the hardware store to buy new locks and got a worker to install all the new locks. Then he sent me a message saying it's done and that I should go straight to my mom's house after work as he'll be there with my mom. So yesterday night I left work to go to her home, but what I wasn't expecting was a shit show in full swing at that house. I didn't even know what was going on at first because when I entered, my husband was trying to calm down my mom while my stepdad was hiding behind my husband. The confusing part was my mom, who had never even been violent in all her life. Never once had she hit me or even twitched a pinky out of rage. And after everything I said, she never gave up on the guy and ended up marrying him. So why is she suddenly behaving like a sane person and is actually trying to hurt the a-hole behind my husband? I asked my mom what was happening, and she said that it's good I was there. I asked her why that guy was in our house and who let him in when my husband had got the locks changed. She said that she was the one who let him in, and I mentally slapped myself for forgetting to let her know not to open the gate for my stepdad. Once my mom was done telling me the story, I found out that my stepdad had told her by himself that there's someone else he wants to go live with for a while, and that my mother should also find someone young to have fun with. He told her that we can keep living together and be a happy family until the end, but with separate fun lives along with their life together. He also told her that she should worry about it much because he already found someone he'd like to stay with for a while and that he already informed me. That disgusted my mom, and she couldn't control her anger. She just started hitting him with whatever she got. And if it wasn't for my husband, my stepdad would have been on his way to hospital. I asked my husband to kick out the stepdad after that. I held my mom and told her everything would be fine. Now, I know the guy was a disaster from the start, and I feel a bit guilty for not forcing my mom to leave him. I feel like if I had asked her to move in with me, then she would have left him eventually. AITA here for being so late in recognizing the situation and how bad it was going to get. Update 1. Remember how I told you guys about my stepdad leaving my mom to go and stay with his mistress? Well, the a-hole just came back home yesterday and tried to get back with my mom. And guess what my mom did? She let him come back into her life. I don't even know how to react to that. After everything that happened, she was just about to be a doormat again. Does she have no self-respect? Or maybe she just doesn't care about what kind of example she's setting up for me. Either way, when she called me to tell me that the guy has come back after 4 months and I shouldn't swing by to check on her, I was beyond furious. I went into a manic rage and went straight to her home after work. My mom might be an adult who has every right to decide what she wants to do with her life, but I wasn't going to sit idly while she willingly lets a piece of trash enter our lives. I decided it was high time for her to choose. She can't keep blowing all her savings up cleaning after that man. And if I'll allow myself to be selfish, then technically she's giving away something that was going to be mine after she's gone. So when I reached her house, I almost broke the door down while knocking. And just as my luck had it, my stepdad opened the door. He gave me a big smile, and I reminded myself that hitting someone is assault. I went to my mom and told her to kick that man out. When she said I should stop now and that it's her choice, I told her if that's her choice, then I'm going to cut all ties with her. She was shocked to hear that and told me not to be ridiculous. But I was completely serious. I told her she can make her decision by the weekend, and if she chooses to stay with that man, I'll officially get disowned. It hasn't even been a week and my mom already called me. It was the first time I dreaded picking up her call, because no matter how much I thought she'd choose me, I still dreaded the idea that she might pick that man. When I finally picked up the call, she told me to swing by the house. So I finished my work early and went to meet her. She had ordered fried chicken and asked me to help myself, and she was alone and nobody else was going to have them. Hearing that, I just smiled like an idiot. Finally, she came to her senses. Well, I threatened her into listening to some sense. Either way, I was relieved. I hugged her and told her she doesn't have to worry so much about being all alone when she's all old, because I'll make sure her grandkids are there to keep her company while I spoil her. Then my mom said that it was because of me that she went to this trouble, and so I should be the one to get her a divorce. I told her not to worry, and I'd take care of everything. So it's been a few months since everything that happened with my mom and stepdad. I thought, as I so frequently update here about the bad things, I should also update you guys on some good news. My mom's divorce was finalized, and not gonna lie, it was too much of a trouble to get a 60-plus woman a divorce. But she insisted that she needs to be ready for when she finds her next partner. For now, she has moved in with me because I'm actually pregnant. And that was the good news. It kind of worked out because she was all alone in that house of hers, and I needed help to manage pregnancy and work at the same time. If I was alone, I was sure to eat only unhealthy food. Well, things would be better now. NTA, you're not the a-hole, but you sure are one patient human being to deal with that crap. If I were you, I would have left my mom to get what she had coming. No way would I allow that kind of drama in my life. NTA, you did the right thing, and it's better to be late than never come to your senses. The guy was a jerk, and I bet he was dating someone younger who used him as a sugar daddy. You shouldn't feel guilty at all because it was your mom's fault for being dumb and complacent. I, 23 female, am getting married and just picked up my wedding dress. It's not going to be in alterations until closer to the wedding. Until then, I asked my grandma if I can keep it at her house so my fiance doesn't accidentally see it. She said yes. When I brought it over to her house, I tried it on and showed her. Overall, she liked it, but she is an old-fashioned elderly woman and of course did not like that I looked so busty in my dress. I have a large chest. It doesn't matter what I wear, anyone with eyes can see that I have big boobs. She then started eyeing my dress and said she's going to make changes to make it more modest. I said that wasn't necessary because I already have alterations being done in future by the bridal salon I got the dress from. She asked if they are covering up the boob area, and I said no. My dress isn't even revealing because, like I said earlier, I have big boobs. And it doesn't matter what I wear, you can tell I'm large chested. Even if it was revealing, I don't have a problem with it. She then made a fuss about how I'm hanging everything out and kept suggesting changes she would make on the dress. I told her not to make any changes to my dress while it's in her possession, but she flat out ignored me. I didn't even think she would have a problem with the dress in the first place because I don't even feel that it's sexy or even revealing. She then does not shut up about how much she hates how low cut it's not. The dress is. I told her that if she feels tempted to alter my dress without my knowledge, then I'll find someone else to hang on to the dress for me. She then got defensive and said that my wedding wasn't a parade for everyone to look at my chest. She then went on and on about the dress and even started to stoop so low as to insult me and my morals, and said if I didn't cover up my chest more, I was dishonoring God. I then wrapped it up and said my goodbyes and took my dress back home with me. When I told my mom everything that happened, she said that even though she doesn't want my grandma altering my dress either, and that my dress isn't even revealing, she said I started a fight for no reason and that I should apologize to my grandma. I didn't feel like it was a fight because I was still being very respectful of my grandma despite her yelling at me. I just let her say what she had to say, gathered my things, and left. I felt that it was uncalled for when my grandma started questioning my morals and my relationship with God, all because of a dress. I hate to have this conflict with my grandma, especially with the wedding coming up, but I feel so hurt that she insulted me. And when I stood up for myself and told her she couldn't alter my dress, I was made to be the bad guy. So AITA? NTA at all. Your wedding is your day. Even if you wanted to wear a skimpy dress, that's not her choice. Wear whatever makes you feel beautiful, and if your grandma has a problem with that, she's TA. It was a smart choice to take the dress away, as it seemed she was set on altering it regardless of your opinion. You did nothing wrong. NTA, she was 100% going to alter your dress no matter what you said, so you had no choice but to take the dress with you. You were not the one who started this either. Your grandma was. If anything, you are the one who is owed an apology. But I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for one. Congratulations on your upcoming wedding and good luck. I, 36 female, have been estranged from my mom, 56, for most of my life. She had me when she was young, and I was raised mostly by my grandmother and my aunt. We didn't have a lot of money, so most of my birthdays that I remember celebrating were just a cake or a special dessert that I shared with my aunt and grandma. My mom never attended any of my birthdays when I was younger because it reminded her of the worst day of her life. My husband, 34, on the other hand, has a family that's straight out of a Hallmark commercial. Because of him and his lovely family, I got back in contact with my mom. She apologized for a lot of things, and I could tell she was really remorseful. Since coming back into my life, she has been great, if not a little forgetful. Like, if I ask her to drive me somewhere, she'll forget that she said yes until it's too late to go. Or if I ask her to bring something to a gathering, she'll forget to bring it. On my son's birthday, I asked her to bring a sweet potato dish she makes that my son seems to enjoy. She forgot to make it. Oh well. Fast forward to last week. It is my son's second birthday, and my in laws are super excited, as they always are. Ever since meeting my husband's mom, my mom has been really preoccupied with being grandma. Even though my son spends more time with my mother in law and knows of her as grandma, so, as we're planning for his birthday, my mother in law and sister in law offered to bake my son's cake, which is great because they're excellent bakers. My mom then said there's no need for that because grandma would bring a cake instead. 2 days before the party, I bought a simple plain cake from the local grocery store. I was worried that my mom would forget to bring a cake. On the day of his birthday, my mom shows up with a gorgeous cake from an expensive cake maker. I was thrilled and set it up at the center of the table. I put the plain store-bought cake out too, for my son to use as his smash cake. As we were gathering to sing happy birthday, my mom asked what the extra cake was for. I didn't think twice and I told her it's just a backup cake. She started crying, yelling about how I'm not letting her be a good grandma and I won't forgive her for past mistakes. She left early, and it was awkward for a while, but my in laws are troopers, and the rest of the party went fine. Later, when talking to my sister in law about the event, she said she understood why I got the cake, but that I shouldn't have put it out with the rest of the food once I saw that my mom did bring a cake. My mom hasn't spoken to me since. My aunt says she's waiting for an apology, but I haven't reached out because I don't think I have anything to apologize for. My husband thinks I didn't do anything wrong, but thinks the real reason I don't want to apologize is because I'm still mad at her for how my childhood was. I'm not sure if he's right or wrong. I keep wondering, AITA for putting out the extra cake? NTA, you weren't wrong to get another cake. I probably wouldn't have told her it was an in case you mess up again cake, which it was, and probably just said, oh, this is the smash cake. But she needs to learn that showing up once doesn't make her a good grandma or a reliable family member. NTA, you are 100% not responsible for your mother's emotional baggage around her own poor parenting choices and continued tendency to weasel out of things she doesn't want to do by just not doing them. It's entirely up to her how she reacts to events in her life. She could just as easily have reacted, oh, backup cake, good idea, instead of making it a melodrama all about herself. The day was about your son, not her and her feelings. You shouldn't have to be walking around on eggshells wondering whether your mother's feelings have been triggered. Come on. You know she does this to avoid taking responsibility for herself and her actions and probably always has done. Are you reflecting on other times she has behaved like this to get her own way? Are you seeing this pattern now? Are you remembering that you were the abandoned child and she is the adult who chose not to care for you? Your husband is probably right that you are mad about being abandoned by your mother, because that is a normal reaction to abandonment by a caregiver. Just because your husband's parents are caring, responsible, consistent people does not mean everyone is. Look after yourself and your son foremost. Your mother has not earned that position of close and trusted loved one. Let her play her games while you and your lovely boy eat